My kids say therapy changed me too much. They don't mean it as a compliment. The first time my daughter said it, we were standing in my kitchen, arguing about something that, on the surface, looked small. "Can you watch Emma for me this weekend?" she'd asked, already opening my fridge, like the answer was obviously yes. "It's just Friday night to Sunday morning. You're not doing anything, right?" Old me would have said yes before she finished the sentence. Old me would have rearranged my plans, bought Emma's favourite snacks, stayed up late so my daughter could just have a little more time out, and then spent all of Monday exhausted at work. New me took a breath and said, as calmly as I could, "I can't this weekend, honey. I already have plans. I can do Saturday afternoon, but not the whole weekend." She froze, carton of milk in her hand, like I'd just spoken in another language. "What do you mean you can't?" she said. "I mean," I repeated, heart thudding, "I can't watch her the whole weekend. I'm going to a friend's cabin on Saturday morning. I can help Friday night, or maybe Sunday afternoon, but not the whole thing." The look she gave me hurt more than any slap. "Wow," she said slowly. "Therapy really changed you, huh?" The word therapy came out like brainwashing. I almost caved right there. The guilt rose up in me like a wave. "You're being selfish. You're abandoning your daughter. You're a bad mom." But my therapist's voice was in my head too, softer but steady. "You're allowed to have a life," she'd told me. Saying no doesn't mean you love them less. It just means you're not sacrificing yourself completely anymore. So I swallowed, felt my face burn, and said, "I still love you. I love Emma. But I'm allowed to have plans too." My daughter rolled her eyes so hard, I was surprised she didn't hurt herself. "You're not the mum you used to be," she snapped. "Ever since you started therapy, everything is no and boundaries and taking care of yourself. I miss the old you." She slammed the fridge, grabbed her keys, and walked out. The front door shut with a final dull thud. I stood there in the quiet kitchen, my weekend bag half packed on the chair, my heart caught between two voices. The old one, "Go after her. Say you'll do it. That's what good mothers do." And the new one, "You are not a bad person for wanting rest, for wanting joy, for wanting more than to be everybody else's emergency contact." My kids think therapy changed me too much. Maybe they're right. But what they don't see yet is that therapy didn't turn me into a different person. It just brought back a version of me I'd buried so deep under other people's needs, even I had forgotten she existed. This is the story of how I went from being the mum who said yes to everything to the mom who learned to say no, and how I'm still trying every single day to convince my children that love can survive boundaries. Before therapy, if you'd asked my kids to describe me, they would have said I was always there, always available, always picking up, always fixing, smoothing, rescuing. The perfect mum, by some people's standards. What they didn't know was that the perfect mum was dying inside. I'm 58 years old, and for most of my life, my identity could be summed up in 3 words. I've got it. When my husband left, I said, I've got it. When the car broke down, when the rent went up, when my son forgot his homework, When my daughter needed a last-minute costume for a school play, no matter what it was, those 3 words came out of my mouth like a reflex. I've got it. I wore my exhaustion like a badge of honor. Other mums would complain about being tired, and I'd join in, laughing. "Oh, you think you're tired? You should see my schedule." There was a twisted pride in it, like comparing scars. I grew up in a house where my own mother never stopped moving. She worked 2 jobs, cooked every meal, ironed my father's shirts, packed our lunches, paid the bills, and somehow still managed to show up for every school play and parent-teacher conference. She never said she was tired. She never said no. If she cried, it was in the laundry room with the dryer running, so no one would hear. When I was little, I thought she was a superhero. When I was older, I realized she was just a human being, slowly breaking in silence. But by then, the pattern was already baked into my bones. When I married Tom at 22, I slipped into the role of self-sacrificing wife as easily as putting on a familiar sweater. Tom worked long hours as a mechanic. I did part-time cashier work and all of the everything else. Kids, meals, laundry, cleaning, keeping track of school events, birthday gifts, dentist appointments, the invisible labor that makes a family look like it's functioning. I told myself that's just how it is, that loving people meant always showing up, no matter what it cost you. When our first child, Lisa, was born, I poured myself into motherhood with a fierce, almost desperate energy. I made homemade baby food. I didn't miss a single pediatrician visit. I read every parenting article like it was gospel. I wanted to be the opposite of my father, who had sat in his recliner drinking beer while my mother did everything. I wanted to be the parent my kids could always count on. 3 years later, our son, Matthew, arrived, and I stretched myself even thinner. Work, kids, husband, house. My life became a series of lists written on sticky notes and receipts. "Mom, can you?" "Yes." "Hun, could you?" "Yes." "Can you pick up an extra shift?" "Yes." Every yes felt righteous. It felt like proof that I was good. When Tom left on a Tuesday, of all days, with no warning beyond a distant look in his eyes the months before I doubled down. "I've got it," I told my kids, even as I felt the floor dropping out from under me. "We'll be fine. I'll make this work. You don't have to worry about anything." Lisa was 13 then. Matthew was 10. Too old to miss the truth completely. Too young to carry the weight of it. So I tried to carry it all for them. I took a second job. I slept less. I stopped doing anything that looked remotely like self-care because it felt selfish next to braces and school supplies and shoes they outgrew every 6 months. As they grew into teenagers, the requests changed shape, but not weight. "Mom, can you pick me up at midnight? Jenny's mom doesn't want to drive that late. Mom, can we get the nicer cleats? Everyone else has them. Mom, can I stay home from school today? I just can't deal with people." Yes, yes, yes. I said yes, even when my body screamed no. I said yes, even when my bank account said absolutely not. I said yes, even when my heart knew I was enabling, not helping. I sat in the bleachers for every game, even after 8-hour shifts on my feet. I drove to the good mall 40 minutes away because Lisa was embarrassed to shop at the discount place in town. I let Matthew quit one part-time job after another because they're idiots, Mom. I can't work under people like that. When bills came that I couldn't pay, I shuffled them, bought time with charm and apologies, and quietly took from my own future my savings, my health to keep their present smooth. By the time my kids were in their 20s, the shape of my life was clear. I was the emergency contact, the soft landing, the ATM with a beating heart. Lisa called when she fought with her boyfriend, when she needed help with rent, when her car made a weird noise. Matthew called when he quit another job, when he needed a little help until payday, when he overslept an interview and needed me to lie for him. I grumbled sometimes, but I never truly said no. Instead, I'd say things like, "I'm just tired, but I'll do it. I don't really have it, but I'll figure something out. You know I'll always be here for you." They believed me. I believed me. Until one afternoon, sitting in my doctor's office, my blood pressure sky high, my chest tight, my left arm tingling, and the urgent care nurse asking if I had someone to call, and the only person I could think of was Lisa, not as my daughter, as my ride home. And suddenly the question echoed in my mind, if I fall apart, who takes care of them? And underneath that, a quieter one, if I fall apart, who takes care of me? The answer, as my doctor gently suggested therapy, was no one. Because I'd spent my entire adult life teaching everyone around me that I didn't need anything. Only my kids did. The health scare wasn't a heart attack. Stress, the doctor said, and blood pressure we need to take seriously. I'm prescribing medication, but if you don't change how you're living, this is only going to get worse. How I'm living? I repeated. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't even go out. He gave me a look that was both kind and pointed. "Linda," he said, "when was the last time you did something just for yourself? Not for your kids, not for work, just because it made you happy or relaxed?" I opened my mouth, then closed it. I honestly couldn't remember. He handed me a small stack of pamphlets. Nutrition, stress management. One for a local therapist's practice, the address circled in blue ink. "I can't force you," he said, "but I strongly recommend you talk to someone. Chronic stress doesn't just live in your mind. It lives in your heart, your blood vessels, your nervous system. You can't keep operating at this level forever." I left the office with a prescription paper and that pamphlet crumpled in my hand. My first instinct was to push it all down. I don't have time for therapy. Therapy is for people with serious problems. I'm just tired. On my way home, my phone buzzed. It was Matthew. "Hey, Mom," he said without hello. "Listen, my car's making this weird sound again. Can you spot me a couple hundred until next week? I swear I'll pay you back this time." My chest tightened. "Matt," I said, gripping the steering wheel. "I just left urgent care. They thought I was having a heart attack." He paused. "You okay?" "They said it was stress," I replied, "but they want me to take it seriously. That sucks," he said, "but you're okay, right? You always are." I started. He ploughed ahead. "So, about the money." Something in me snapped. "No," I said. Silence crackled through the line. "What?" he asked. "No, I can't spot you money today," I said, forcing the words out past the lump in my throat. I just picked up a prescription. My paycheck is already divided between bills. I can't keep bailing you out, Matt. I just can't. You've always helped before, he said, confusion turning to irritation. I know, I said. That's part of the problem. So therapy already started or what? He snorted. You sound like a self-help book. I haven't even gone yet, I replied. But I have to do something. I can't live like this anymore. He exhaled sharply. Fine, whatever. I'll figure it out. He hung up. I pulled into my driveway, parked the car, and sat there for a long time, staring at the therapist's pamphlet. Counseling and Wellness Center, it read. Individual, couples, family. A part of me felt ridiculous. Plenty of people have it worse, I thought. You're just whining. Get over it. Another part, the one that had felt that brief, horrifying tingle in my left arm, whispered, if you don't change, your body is going to make the decision for you. 2 weeks later, after 3 false starts and 1 appointment cancelled out of guilt, my co-worker needed someone to cover her shift. I walked into a small office that smelled like peppermint tea and faint old books. My therapist was a woman maybe 10 years younger than me. Her name was Mariah. She had kind eyes and a notebook she rarely wrote in. So, she said, after we went over the basics, what brings you in? I laughed once, a short, humorless sound. Everyone else? I said. She smiled. That's not an uncommon answer. Tell me more. I told her about the hospital scare, about the long shifts, about my kids calling at all hours. I told her about my mother, the human tornado of productivity, and my father, the furniture with a TV remote. I told her about Tom leaving and the silent pact I'd made with myself to never let my kids feel abandoned. I did not cry. I have always been good at telling the worst parts of my life like funny stories. By the end of it, she sat back and regarded me for a moment. You have been carrying a lot, she said softly. I shrugged. Everyone does. Everyone carries something, she agreed. But not everyone carries everything. She flipped a page in her notebook. Let me ask you this, she continued. In the last week, how many times have you ignored your own needs to take care of someone else's? I thought of Lisa's late-night call to talk about her fight with her boyfriend when I had to be up at 5, of Matthew's request for rent help, of my co-worker asking me to switch shifts because your kids are grown. You don't have as much going on, right? A lot, I admitted. And how many times did you ask for help? She asked. The question stunned me. I don't, I stammered. I don't really do that. Why not? She asked. Because I'm the one people go to, I said, as if it were obvious. I'm the mum. I'm the responsible one. I'm the one who, I swallowed, has it. She nodded slowly. What would happen, she asked gently, if you didn't always have it? The thought made my stomach lurch. Things would fall apart, I said. Or, she suggested, other people might have to learn to carry their own weight. It might not be comfortable, but it might not be the disaster you imagine. I scoffed. You don't know my kids. She smiled. Not yet, but I know people, and I know that when someone's entire identity is built on being independent, indispensable, the idea of stepping back feels like annihilation. We sat in silence for a moment. "What do you want from therapy, Linda?" she asked finally. I opened my mouth to say, "Stress management." But what came out instead surprised even me. "I don't want to be so tired all the time," I said. "I don't want my kids' crises to feel like life or death emergencies every single time. I don't want my heart to pound every time the phone rings. And I don't want to die before I get to find out who I am, when I'm not fixing everyone else's mess." She nodded. "That," she said, "we can work with." The next months were not magical. There were no lightning bolt revelations, no tidy breakthroughs where I sobbed once and was healed. Instead, there were small questions, repeated over and over. What do you need right now? Is that your responsibility or someone else's? What would happen if you said no? There was also homework. Tiny experiments in saying, "I can't," or "not this time," or "I need to think about that," instead of my automatic yes. The first time I tried one of those experiments with my kids, I thought I might throw up. The first real test came on a Wednesday night. I had just finished an 8-hour shift on my feet at the store. My back ached. My eyes burned. My dinner was a microwaved bowl of soup and 2 crackers. I just sat down when my phone buzzed. "Lisa." "Hey, Mom," she said, sounding rushed. "I need a huge favor." My muscles tensed. "What's up?" I asked. "Daycare called," she said. "Emma has a mild fever and they want her picked up, like, now. I'm across town and my boss will kill me if I leave early again this month. Can you grab her and keep her tonight? I'll pick her up super early, promise." Old script cue. This is what grandmas are for. Say yes. New script, courtesy of Mariah. Pause. Check in with your body. I closed my eyes for a second. My feet throbbed. My head was pounding. I imagined the 40-minute drive to the daycare, the restless night with a sick toddler, the early morning shuffle. "I'm so tired, Lisa," I said slowly. "I just got home from work. I knew you'd say that," she cut in. "You've been so weird lately. Look, I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important." Guilt flared. "I know," I said quickly. "I'm not saying no. I'm saying, can you call Michael's mum first? She lives closer, doesn't she? If she really can't, I'll go. But I'm not the only option here." There was a pause. "You're her grandmother," Lisa said. Like that settled it. "I know," I said, feeling my heartbeat in my throat. "And I love her, but I also have limits. I can't be the automatic default for everything. You have other resources. Have you asked them?" Lisa let out an exasperated sigh. "Oh my God," she said. "This is what I'm talking about. Before therapy, you would have been in the car already. Now it's all boundaries and limits. Do you even hear yourself?" My cheeks burned. "This isn't about therapy," I lied. "It's about me being almost 60 and exhausted." "It is about therapy," she insisted. "You used to be so kind, so generous. Now everything is a negotiation. I don't even know who you are anymore." The words hit like a slap. "You used to be so kind." The implication loud and clear. "Now you're selfish." My eyes stung. "Lisa," I said softly, Me taking care of myself doesn't mean I don't care about you. It just means I can't keep pretending I'm endless." "Whatever," she snapped. "Forget I asked. I'll figure it out." She hung up. I sat there, phone in hand, soup going cold, heart pounding, with a rush of shame and doubt. "Maybe she's right," the old voice whispered. "Maybe you are becoming selfish. Maybe therapy is turning you into someone your kids can't rely on." The next day in session, I told Mariah what happened. And then she said, "I used to be kind." I finished, my throat tight. "She's not wrong. I did used to do everything without question. Now it feels like I'm just hurting them." Mariah nodded, not looking alarmed, which annoyed me a little. "Of course they're upset," she said. "You changed the rules of a game they didn't know they were playing." I frowned. "What game?" "The Mom Will Fix It game," she said. "For decades, when they pressed this button," she mimed, pressing an invisible switch, "you responded with, 'I've got it,' no matter what. Now they're pressing the same button and getting, 'I need to think,' or 'Can you try someone else?' That's confusing. Scary, even when you've relied on that button all your life." "So I'm just supposed to accept that they hate me now?" I snapped. Mariah shook her head. "No," she said. "You're supposed to accept that they're grieving the loss of a version of you that wasn't sustainable. They're not wrong that you've changed. You have. The question is, do you want to go back to the old version to make them comfortable, even if it kills you slowly?" I stared at the floor. "It feels like those are the only two options," I muttered. "Be loved and depleted, or healthy and alone." Mariah leaned forward. "What if there's a third option?" she asked. I rolled my eyes. "Of course you'd say that." She smiled. "What if you can be healthy and still connected, but the connection has to go through some turbulence first? Think of it like this. You were their safety net. But you never noticed that the net was made out of your own skin. Now you're trying to hand them a rope and say, 'Here, you hold some of this too.' They don't like it. It's heavier than they thought, but that doesn't mean it's wrong." I sighed. "What do I even say when they throw 'you changed' in my face?" I asked. "Because they're not wrong. I don't want to pretend nothing's different." Mariah thought for a moment. "You could try something like," she suggested, "'You're right, I have changed. I'm trying to take better care of myself so I can be around longer. My love for you hasn't changed, and I'm open to talking about how this feels for you, if we can have that conversation respectfully." I snorted. "My children? Respectful when they're upset? You're adorable." She shrugged. "Then it might take time. Or you might have to model what respect looks like. Or you might have to end some conversations when they cross lines. That too is a boundary." The next test came from Matthew. It always does, doesn't it? He called on a Sunday afternoon. "Hey, Mom, can I crash with you for a couple weeks?" he asked. "My roommate is being a jerk, and I'm over it. I'm done." "Did you talk to him about it?" I asked. "I'm not going to do a feelings circle," he scoffed. "I'll just move out. I don't need to stay where I'm not respected." "And your job?" I asked, remembering the pattern. "Is that still close to your apartment?" "Yeah, but I can commute," he said. "Please, Mom, it's only temporary. You know I always figure something out." Temporary. I'd heard that before. Temporary had turned into 8 months once. I took a slow breath. I love you, I said, and I'm worried that this is another case of you running instead of dealing with a problem. I can offer you the couch for 3 nights. After that, we need a plan in place. Ground rules. And you need to talk to your roommate, or your landlord, or HR, or someone. I can't just be the place you escape to forever. He was quiet for a beat. There it is again, he said. Therapy, Mom. Before you'd be like, of course, sweetie, stay as long as you need. Now it's all boundaries and conditions. You think you're too good for us now, or what? His words stung more than I wanted to admit. I don't think I'm too good for you, I said, voice shaking. I think I'm too old and too tired to keep rescuing you from situations you never learn from. I'm trying to help you grow, not punish you. Feels like punishment, he muttered. I'm willing to be uncomfortable with you while you figure stuff out, I said. I'm not willing to live your life for you anymore. Whatever, he said. Forget it. I'll sleep in my car if I have to. Panic flared. Matt? He hung up. I stared at the phone, hand trembling, mind racing with worst-case scenarios. In the past, that fear would have sent me straight to my car, ready to drag him by the ear into my apartment. Instead, I sat there and cried. Not because I didn't care, because for the first time, I was choosing not to let my fear drive. It felt awful. It also felt necessary. The family intervention came 2 months later. I should have seen it coming. The group text had been oddly active. More side conversations. Fewer direct messages to me. Can you come over for dinner on Sunday? Lisa texted one week. We want to talk. Don't worry, it's nothing bad. Those words, nothing bad, are almost always followed by something bad. I brought a salad because I was raised right. Lisa's house was buzzing with activity when I arrived. Emma ran to hug me, all curls and sticky fingers and glitter on her shirt. Grandma, she squealed, Mummy made cookies. Cookies. Not bribery at all. We sat around the table, me, Lisa, her husband, Matthew, even Michael, who usually avoided heavy talks. There was an awkward amount of small talk at first. Work, weather, cute things, Emma had said. Then Lisa cleared her throat. Okay, she said, we're just going to say it. My stomach dropped. Say what? I asked, though a part of me already knew. You're different, she said. Since you started therapy, you say no all the time now. You cancel plans, you won't help like you used to. It feels like you don't care about us anymore. My heart pounded. That's not true, I said automatically. I love you very much. You used to be there for everything, Matthew cut in. If I needed a place to stay, I could stay. If Lisa needed a babysitter, you were there. If we needed money, you'd help. Now, every time we ask for something, it's like we're being interviewed. Lisa nodded. You keep talking about boundaries and self-care and emotional labor. It's like you read a bunch of Instagram posts and decided to become a different person. And honestly, it hurts. So, you had a meeting about me, I said slowly, looking around the table. Silence. Wow, I added. Okay. Guilt and anger roiled in my chest like a storm. "So what exactly do you want from me?" I asked, spelled out. "This is your chance. Tell me what you're missing." They looked at each other, then back at me. Lisa spoke first. "I want to know that if I really need you, you'll be there," she said, "without making me feel like I'm burdening you." "You're not a burden," I said quickly. "I just—" "But you make it sound like we're asking for the world," she interrupted. "Like every ask is too much. That's new. That's since therapy." Matthew chimed in. "I want to know that my mom isn't going to throw pop psychology at me every time I mess up. Sometimes I just want you to say, 'It's okay, I've got you,' like you used to." The words stabbed and soothed all at once. They still wanted me. They just wanted the version of me that didn't have limits. "The old me almost ended up in the hospital," I said quietly. They blinked. "I don't mean that as a metaphor," I continued. "I mean literally. My blood pressure was through the roof. My doctor thought I was having a heart attack. He told me if I kept going the way I was, I might not be around to meet my grandkids' kids." Lisa's face paled. "You never told us that," she whispered. I shrugged. "I didn't want you to worry." "Mom," Matthew said, "we're adults. We can handle worrying about you." "Can you?" I asked gently. "Because every time I try to set a boundary, say no, or ask you to figure something out, you tell me therapy ruined me, that I've changed, that you want the old me back." Lisa looked down at her hands. "The old me," I said, "didn't have hobbies, didn't have friends, didn't have a life outside of you two and my jobs. The old me never said no, even when she was screaming inside. The old me thought love meant slowly disappearing so other people could take up all the space." I swallowed hard. "I love you," I said. "That hasn't changed, but I am not willing to disappear anymore." The room was quiet except for Emma's cartoons playing faintly in the next room. "So what?" Matthew said finally. "We just have to get used to this new you?" "Yes," I said. Then I softened, and no. They frowned. "Yes," I explained, "in the sense that I'm not going back to overworking myself into an early grave. I'm going to keep going to therapy. I'm going to keep having boundaries. I'm going to keep saying no sometimes. But no, in the sense that we don't just have to endure it in silence. We can talk about it. We can renegotiate. We can figure out new ways of being close that don't involve me doing everything." Lisa's eyes filled with tears. "It just feels like you pulled the rug out from under us," she said. "One day you were the mom who did everything, and the next day you're this different person." "I know," I said. "That's on me too. I should have brought you into this sooner. Explained what was happening instead of just changing and hoping you'd adjust." "You could have," Matthew muttered. "Maybe told us you almost had a heart attack." I winced. Fair point. We sat there, 3 adults and 1 scared little girl inside each of us, circling something big and heavy. "I'm not asking you to celebrate my boundaries," I said. "I know they're inconvenient. I know it hurts when I say no after a lifetime of yes. I'm just asking you not to punish me for trying to stay alive. And to trust that when I say no, it's not because I don't love you. It's because I'm finally learning to love me too." Lisa sniffled. You really think you were going to die? She asked. I don't know, I said, but I do know I was running on fumes. My body was screaming for a change. Therapy wasn't about turning me against you. It was about turning me back toward myself. Matthew leaned back, arms crossed, his jaw working. This sucks, he said bluntly. I liked it better when you just said yes. We all laughed, a little hysterically. Of course you did, I said. It was easier. For you. For you too, he shot back. You didn't have to watch us struggle. The words landed with a surprising clarity. He was right. Saying yes had spared me their discomfort, their anger, their tears. It had also kept them from learning what they were capable of. Maybe, I said slowly, part of my work now is tolerating your struggle and your anger and trusting that our relationship is strong enough to survive it. Lisa wiped her eyes. I don't want you to die, she said suddenly. The words burst out of her like a confession. You're my mom, she continued. Of course I want you around. I also want to feel like I can lean on you, like I'm not alone. You're not alone, I said. You have me. You have Michael. You have friends. You have a therapist if you choose one. But I can't be the whole village anymore. I can be one house in it. The metaphor surprised even me. Mariah would be proud. We didn't solve everything that night. No one stood up and clapped. There was no swelling music, no group hug. But when I left, Lisa hugged me longer than she had in months. I'm still mad, she murmured into my shoulder. I know, I said into her hair. I love you. I love you too, she replied. And that, for the first time, felt like a beginning instead of an obligation. Change didn't happen overnight. It rarely does outside of movies. There were still phone calls where Lisa sighed dramatically when I couldn't drop everything. There were still texts from Matthew that started with, I know you're all about boundaries now, but there were still moments where I almost backslid, where the urge to say, I've got it, rose up so strong I had to physically bite my tongue. But there were also tiny, unexpected shifts. One Friday evening, a few weeks after the intervention, Lisa called. Hey, she said, can you watch Emma next Saturday afternoon? I already asked Michael's mum for the morning, but she's busy later. If it doesn't work, it's okay. I'm trying to ask around before I come to you. I blinked. Next Saturday? I repeated, checking my calendar. Yeah, I can do that. Thanks for giving me a heads up. No problem, she said. See, I can adapt. Another day, Matthew texted. Got a job offer. Actually like this one. Before you freak out, I already read the contract. Benefits are decent. Can we talk it over tomorrow? Want your opinion, not your panic. My opinion, not my panic. When we met at a diner to talk about it, I listened, asked questions, pointed out a few things he might want to clarify with HR. Then, instead of saying, take it, it's stable, or don't take it, it's risky, I said, how does it feel in your gut? He rolled his eyes, but I saw the corner of his mouth twitch. Therapy speak, he said. Maybe, I shrugged. Still a good question. He thought about it. Honestly, he said, it feels good. like they actually want me, not just a warm body. I'm scared, but not in a bad way. Then I'm excited for you, I said, and I'm here if you need to vent about the first week. He stared at me. No lecture? He asked. No lecture, I said. Just love and mild curiosity. He laughed. Who are you and what have you done with my mother? He joked. I'm still here, I replied. Just a little less on fire. At therapy, I told Mariah about these moments. She smiled. That's the thing about boundaries, she said. At first, they feel like walls, to you and to everyone else. Over time, if you hold them with love, they turn into doors. People learn when they can come in, how, and for what. It makes the relationship safer, not colder. Tell that to my kids, I muttered, but my heart wasn't in the complaint, because slowly they were learning. So was I. One day, Lisa and I took Emma to the park. We watched her climb the ladder, hesitate at the top of the slide. Come on, baby, Lisa called. You can do it. I watched Emma's little face scrunch with determination. She went down. At the bottom, she ran to us, breathless and proud. I did it, she said. You did, I agreed, all by yourself. Later, as we sat on the bench, Lisa sighed. I get it, you know, she said quietly. About boundaries, about letting us struggle. I turned to her. Yeah? I asked. She picked at a loose thread on her jeans. When I dropped Emma off with my mother-in-law last month, she said, I realized I was doing the same thing to her that I do to you. Just assuming she would take her, just expecting, not asking. I raised an eyebrow. And? She looked tired, Lisa said. Really tired. And for a second I saw you, like the you I grew up with. And I thought, oh, that's what it felt like for Mum all those years. My throat tightened. What did you do? I asked. I still dropped Emma off, she admitted. But I asked first, and I told her she could say no. And when she said she actually had plans that day, I didn't guilt trip her. I just asked someone else. She glanced at me. I'm not where you are, she said. I still get annoyed when you don't rescue me, but I'm starting to see why you had to stop. I swallowed past the lump in my throat. That means a lot, I said softly. She bumped her shoulder into mine. I still miss the old you, she said. Sometimes. I do too, I replied. She worked really hard. She kept us alive. We sat there in silence for a moment, watching Emma run toward the swings. But I like this you, Lisa added almost shyly. You laugh more. You sleep more. You don't look like you're about to collapse all the time. That's comforting in a different way. Tears welled in my eyes. I worried. I confessed that if I changed, you'd stop loving me. Lisa snorted. Mum, she said, you could move to a commune and start wearing only purple and we'd still love you. We'd talk about you behind your back, she added with a grin, but we'd love you. I laughed, wiping my eyes. Please don't start a commune, she said. Therapy, Mum, is enough of an adjustment. We both laughed then, real and deep. Later that night, alone in my little apartment, I made myself a cup of tea and sat on the couch in the quiet. My phone buzzed. It was Matthew. "Hey," his text read. "Therapy is full this week at the place I called. You think yours has any recommendations for guys like me? Asking for a friend. The friend is me." I smiled. "Pretty sure she does," I typed back. "I can ask. Proud of you for asking, by the way." 3 little dots appeared. "Don't make it weird," he replied. "Love you, though." "I love you too," I wrote. I set my phone down and leaned back, feeling something I hadn't felt in a very long time. Peace. My kids still think therapy changed me. They are right. Therapy taught me how to listen to my own body before it screamed. How to notice the resentment hiding inside my constant yes. How to love my children fiercely without sacrificing myself completely on the altar of their comfort. It taught me that my job is not to make their lives effortless. It's to walk alongside them as they learn to carry their own weight and to hold my own with as much grace as I can. Sometimes I stumble. Sometimes I still say yes when I mean no, or no when I'm just scared. But I catch myself sooner now. And when my kids say, half joking, "We miss the old you," I smile and say, "I miss her too. She did the best she could. But this version of me, she's going to be around a lot longer. And she loves you just as much." Maybe one day, when Emma is older and facing her own crossroads between self-sacrifice and self-respect, Lisa will remember this season. Maybe Matthew will sit on a couch across from a therapist and say, "My mum changed. At first I hated it. Now I'm grateful." Maybe not. I can't control that. All I can do is keep showing up as this healthier, truer version of myself over and over, even when it scares all of us. Therapy did change me. Not into someone else, into someone I was always meant to be. A woman who can look her grown children in the eye and say, "I love you. I'm here for you. And I'm here for me too."